So I just saw Bottoms, the new movie from young director Emma Seligman, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This is her second feature film, and it's a film that I really see kind of blowing up on the internet when it comes to like the film communities. I see a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people saying that this is the new great comedy that we have been waiting for years, because we really haven't had a great comedy movie, at least a memorable, all-time classic level high school comedy movie in a very long time. But now I've seen it, and I have also seen her other movie, Shiva's Baby, which I watched pretty much right after I had seen this film. And although I'd really kind of like to talk about that film a little bit more than this one, because there's a lot more going on there. That movie is awesome. I'm going to talk about Bottoms here, and I did enjoy it. So Bottoms is a high school comedy movie starring two friends, PJ and Jossie, played by the excellent Rachel Sennott, somebody who I've seen in a couple movies now, mainly Bodies is the one that I remember her from. She is amazing. And Ayo Edebiri, who is awesome. If you've watched The Bear, you know how good she is. And if you thought, man, she's in The Bear, haven't seen her in anything else, so maybe The Bear is a fluke, I can promise you, not a fluke. She is really, really good. But the movie is essentially about these two friends who start this fight club amongst these girls in this high school to fight back against the jocks and do all this crazy stuff. But the real intentions of why they're starting the fight club is because they really want to get laid. And here we go. We have a high school comedy. So what did I like about this movie? Both Rachel Sennott and Ayo are really good in this movie, and they completely utilize the strength of this script, because it is a really good script, and I'll get into that in a second. They both really bring a lot of depth and a lot of emotion to these characters, and they do a really great job of both bringing the comedy, but as well as bringing like an emotional pull to the movie, something that I wish the script had more of. Yet again, I'll get into that in a second, but when they did have to bring that emotional gut punch, they had it. The rest of the supporting cast is also really good, but there is a very surprising entrance, a surprising performance here. Didn't even know he was in the movie, but Marshawn Lynch? The moment I saw him on screen, I just kind of figured he would be honing in a performance. It would be like, you know,
I'm here so I won't get fined.
But unbelievably, he is really good. He has a natural talent for this, for acting. And I hope this isn't a one-off. Honestly, I want to see Marshawn Lynch in more stuff. Let's get Tom Brady in movies. Why not? Fuck it. But he was such a nice surprise. He was hilarious. He fit this character perfectly, and I loved everything to do with him. And this movie is genuinely funny. Now, was I laughing my ass off? Was I absolutely, you know, knee slapping it away throughout the whole runtime? No, because a lot of the comedy, it's just not my kind of comedy. It's not my thing. But I will admit that the jokes were funny, and the two other people that were in my theater with me were laughing very hard. I also appreciate the direction of this movie, the cinematography. With a lot of these movies, it's very easy to just kind of like go with the very basic filmmaking techniques and not really do anything interesting. But there were some scenes where I was like, wow, they've did some interesting stuff with the camera that really helped visualize the scene in a better way, and I really appreciated that. Now, there are some things that I didn't really love, or I don't want to say I didn't love, but things that just didn't work for me. Personally, I am just not a fan of these comedy movies that just go a little bit too far and remove themselves from reality in a way that makes it very hard for me to get connected to the story. I like realistic comedies. I like comedies that ground themselves in some sort of reality, and the breaks from reality are what kind of create the comedic touch. And this movie, it just felt like none of it took place in reality, which is fine, and I'm sure that works for so many other people, but for me, I really wish this movie kind of told the exact same story in a more realistic, dramatic way, and, you know, matched the comedy and the drama together in a perfect way, and I kind of wish they did more of that with the script. Or I wish that they had just went even more crazy with the over-the-top, unrealistic stuff and just made like Scott Pilgrim versus the world. Like that's what I would have wanted, one or the other, and it's kind of in the middle ground there, and that's why there was just kind of a disconnect for me. I also thought the pacing, I feel like this movie could have been a little shorter, and I'm not complaining about the runtime because it was only an hour and a half, so it's not super long. Maybe it's because I saw the movie at a very early screening in the morning, and I was just like a little bit exhausted, but I don't know, it felt like it went a little too long, but I might have to take that back in a couple months when I watch it again. I also feel like this movie has a very hard task of being very similar thematically to Barbie, which came out a couple months ago. There were multiple times I'm watching this movie where I'm like, oh my god, this is kind of like Barbie, specifically when it comes to the male characters, and I do actually think this movie does it better than Barbie. As you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I was not a fan of the Barbie movie. I think this is better. I think it does those ideas a lot better, but I'm just assuming that most other people, since I'm in the minority of that opinion, are going to see this movie and think, well, Barbie just did it and they did it better, so this movie's kind of a wash. So just kind of poor timing on release. But yeah, overall, I really did like Bottoms. Is it the next Superbad? Is this a movie that, 10, 15 years from now we're going to be talking about as a cult classic comedy, a great comedy movie? No, I really don't think so. And it definitely really wants to be that. There's moments of this movie that feel exactly like Superbad. I was genuinely expecting Michael Cera to show up at some point. Like, it felt like they were going for that early 2000s comedy type vibe. And for me, those movies don't typically, work for me as a whole anyways, so I don't know why there's this obsession with trying to recapture what those movies did. A large part of the reason those early 2000 movies actually worked is because they had the perfect actors to do them. They had Michael Cera, they had the Jonah Hills, they had the Jesse Eisenbergs, and all the other people that were doing those movies. And this cast is amazing, but like, just to capture the vibe is almost impossible, and I like I said, I don't know why there is an obsession with trying to make the next great early 2000s high school comedy movie in 2023. Like, I just don't get it. So I don't know if this movie is going to be seen at, in the same way. Only time will tell. It is being, praised by people critically. It's being praised by a lot of the film people, and I think people will look back at this movie as a very fun little comedy movie in the middle of 2023, a movie that is going to be one of the greatest years for movies ever when it's all said and done. But the main thing I came out of this movie excited about was Emma Seligman, this new director. She's only 28 years old, and she is a fantastic filmmaker, and I am very, very excited to follow her career and see what she does next, because if you go and watch her first film, Shiva's Baby, I mean, it is an absolute masterpiece, and it is completely different from Bottom. So she's messed with two different types of comedies and two different types of films, and she's done both really, really well, and I really, really liked Shiva's Baby. I think it is really a terrific film, especially for a first feature debut. So I'm really excited to see what this director does in future movies. I'm really, really excited by this movie and by this work. I feel like we're watching a new director blossom, and that always excites me, because the more great filmmakers in Hollywood, the better. But yeah, I think I'll give Bottoms a 3.5 out of 5, or 3.75. Not really a 4 for me, but somewhere in between there. But have you guys seen Bottoms? If you have, what did you think of it? Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Make sure to turn on notifications to see everything as I post it, and I will see you all in the next video.